Welcome back to another video on the IP Malik channel. Today, we're going to take a look at how to install the newly released Zorin OS 18, a Linux distribution that has always been designed with former Windows users in mind. But right now, let's begin preparing for the installation. I've already plugged in a USB flash drive. To install Zorin OS, you'll need a USB stick with at least 8 GB of space. My test computer already has Windows 11 installed, and in this video I'll show you how to create a second partition on the drive, and install Zorin OS alongside Windows 10 or 11, in dual boot mode. And at the end of the video, I'll also show you how to properly remove Zorin OS if you ever decide to uninstall it. Alright, open the video description, and click the download link for Zorin OS. Here on the official website, you can explore lots of useful information about the system. Let's go ahead and click the download button. On this page, you can choose from 3 different editions. Zorin OS 18 Pro includes additional apps and features, and requires a paid license. I'm going to select the core version. This is the main free edition, and it's perfectly good for most users. This is the version we'll download and install. You can subscribe to the newsletter if you want, or simply continue to the download. That's what I'll do here. Once the download is complete, we'll write the Zorin OS ISO file to our USB flash drive using a free tool called Rufus. Open the video description, and click the link to the Rufus download page. Download this Rufus on your computer. Now let's launch Rufus. Here I will click Yes. The program has already detected the USB drive I connected earlier. Next, let's select our Zorin OS ISO file. Click Open. Now we need to choose the correct partition scheme, GPT or MBR. To check your disk's partition style in Windows, right-click the Start button, and choose Disk Management. Right-click your system disk, choose Properties, and open the Volumes tab. Here I can see that my disk uses GPT, so in Rufus I'll also select GPT. Click Start, and you'll immediately see a message about detecting a hybrid ISO image. We can keep the ISO mode and click OK. Everything is fine, click OK again. And that's it. Rufus has created a bootable USB installer for Zorin OS. Let's take a quick look at the flash drive. All the Zorin OS installation files are there, so we're ready to proceed. Now we just need to restart the computer and open the boot menu to begin installation. Connect the Windows USB drive to the computer and reboot it. Immediately after the reboot begins, press a certain key on the keyboard to open the boot menu. I pressed the F12 key. For you it could be EB, F8, F9, F11, F12, or some other key. There is no single standard and different computers may have different keys to call the boot menu. The boot menu opens. Find the installation USB flash drive in the boot menu. Press Enter. The installation menu for Zorin OS has now opened. Here, you can choose to simply try Zorin without installing it, using your bootable USB drive. The first option is the standard launch. The second one is the safe graphics mode, useful if you have issues with your video drivers or if you're running an older computer. If you have a modern NVIDIA graphics card, you can boot using the option with the latest NVIDIA drivers. And the last entry takes you straight to your UEFI firmware settings. I'll choose the regular launch. Enter. In this window, you can pick any language you prefer for installing Zorin. If you click Try Zorin, you can run the system directly from the USB drive without installing anything on your computer. And honestly, I highly recommend doing this first, just to make sure your Wi-Fi, your trackpad, and other hardware work correctly, especially if you're using a laptop. But I want to install Zorin OS onto my computer, so I'll click Install. Next, we need to choose the keyboard layout. I'll stick with the first option, but if you're on a laptop, you can also add the second layout just in case. For this demonstration, I'm installing Zorin alongside Windows, creating a dual boot setup. But you can also do a clean installation. In that case, Windows and all files on your disk will be completely erased. Since I'm choosing dual boot, the installer now asks how much space I want to keep for Windows and how much I want to assign to Zorin OS. You can adjust this simply by dragging the divider. Click Install Now. Here we can either go back or continue. The installer gives us one more warning. Next, select your time zone. And click Continue. Now we need to create a local user account, so I'll enter my details here. Let's speed things up a bit, although, to be honest, I always enjoy watching an older PC come back to life with a fresh new operating system. And there we go, the installation is complete. Click Restart. At this point, remove your USB flash drive, and press Enter. And from now on, every time you start your computer, you'll see a startup menu where you can choose which operating system to load. Press Enter. When Zorin launches for the first time, it offers to guide you through a quick tour. To keep this video from getting too long, I'll skip it for now. Instead, I'll adjust the display scaling so everything is easier to see, and then we'll take a quick look around the new operating system. This window already gives us several shortcuts to important settings. Zorin OS includes a beautiful set of desktop wallpapers, along with options to change your theme, accent color, and switch to dark mode if you prefer. Let me pick something nice here. Yes, I'll stick with this warm, sunny summer background. Zorin OS Core comes with plenty of useful applications built right in. You can explore all of them later at your own pace. For now, let's continue. Here you can sign into your Google account, or connect your Microsoft account to sync files with cloud storage. You'll also find a button for accessibility settings, which is great if you need specific visual or navigation assistance. Many people say that Zorin OS is designed to feel familiar for users switching from Windows. And the first thing that reminds us of Windows is the taskbar. Once you get used to Zorin, you can customize it however you like. As in Windows, the taskbar contains a menu with shortcuts to applications and folders, such as Documents, Downloads, and so on. Right now, all of them are empty, waiting for you to fill them with your files. Notice that when I open other locations, we see the main Zorin OS drive, the equivalent of what Windows calls the C drive. Below it, you can see my Windows 11 partition. Zorin allows you to open it, which is very convenient because it gives you full access to all your Windows files. Let me open the desktop folder on the Windows partition and copy one of the files directly onto the desktop in Zorin OS. There's nothing complicated here, I just drag and drop the folder with the mouse, and it moves without any issues. Creating a new folder in Zorin works just as easily as it does in Windows. For example, I will create a new text file, and place these files in the Documents folder. Then I'll reboot into Windows and check if I can access the Zorin files from there, and copy files back and forth. In the boot menu, I choose Windows. Enter. Let's find Zorin OS. When you open this PC, you'll only see the C drive. The Zorin partition is hidden from Windows and doesn't appear here. But if you open Disk Management, you'll see two partitions, one for Windows and one for Zorin OS. There are several ways to access files stored on Zorin while you're in Windows, and the simplest method is to use a free application called Linux Reader. Open the video description and click the download link. On the page, click Get It Free, and the installer will download to your PC. I open File Explorer, go to the Downloads folder, and install the app in the usual way. Once the program opens, you'll see all disks connected to the computer, the Windows drive, and the Zorin OS drive. Let's open the Zorin partition. Inside, you'll see many system folders. User files are usually located in the home directory, so let's open that. Here is my user folder Malik, and inside the Documents folder I have a few files I saved earlier. To copy them to Windows, right-click the file, and choose Save. Click Next. Select where you want to save it. I'll choose the desktop. And then click Next. Next. Finish. And the file instantly appears on the Windows desktop. Let me do the same with another file. The second file has also been saved, and we can close the application. Everything is simple and straightforward. And finally, I'll show you how to safely remove Zorin OS from your disk if you ever decide to uninstall it. This method works on Windows 11, 10, and 8, and it won't damage your files. First, we need to restore the Windows bootloader using one command in Command Prompt, and to do this, enter the system recovery environment. Click Start. Open Settings. Go to System. Open the Recovery tab. And find the Restart Now option. After rebooting, the Windows Recovery menu will appear. Open Troubleshoot. Advanced Options. Command Prompt. Type bcd boot space C:/Windows. If your Windows is installed on a different drive letter, use that letter instead. Press Enter. The command runs successfully and restores the Windows bootloader. Type exit and press Enter. Now restart your computer and enter the BIOS to remove the Zorin entry from the boot menu. If your BIOS is UEFI, open Troubleshoot, then Advanced Options, and click UEFI Firmware. Click Restart, and your computer will boot into the BIOS. However, if you have an older version of BIOS, force a reboot of the computer, and immediately after the reboot you need to press a certain key several times, most often it is F2 or Delete. Different devices have different BIOS layouts, so yours may look different, but the steps are essentially the same. Open the boot menu. find the boot option that mentions Zorin OS. On some systems it might be labeled Ubuntu, and press Enter. Switch it to disabled. On some systems you may see delete or remove. Press Enter. To save the changes, press F10. Confirm with yes, and the computer will reboot. Once you're back on the Windows desktop, open Disk Management. Right-click the Zorin OS partition, and choose Delete. Confirm the deletion. Now right-click the C drive, and choose Extend Volume. Next. Next. Finish. Your C drive is now fully restored. If this video was helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, it really helps with growth. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck.